Yeah. You know, they help you shop. So, yeah. Yeah, I do. I'll say, what are the things that you absolutely just don't like? You know, and I've done that too. Especially if they're a little more opinionated, or there's a very competitive industry. You know, saying, oh yeah, okay, you're in cars, so show me things that you don't like. You know, so most industries these days are fairly competitive anyway. But I'll say, you know, I'm going to like, dislike, and all that stuff. Yeah. I can. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you right now, oh, wait, I go ahead right now. Like sharing it. Yeah. You know, if you email me at wes@craftsites.com. I'll send you the PDF of that. Okay. This is part of a larger presentation, so it's that I did for a work camp that I never actually gave. So I haven't put it up on SlideShare. So I'm kind of conflicted right now if I will or not, or if it's going to end up being the other one. Okay, so this was the content for that one. This is what I did. You find out because I think that if we get to this point, all the decisions for designers should be made. All the decisions for development should have been made. And that, you know, with all the examples of what they like, what their search box should have been, what their e-commerce system, like what their product looks like, all that, if I do my job correctly, that's what it should look like. Now, with plugins, you don't get a lot of that versatility. I mean, we get, especially in e-commerce. Anybody who's ever had a client to design an e-commerce application from scratch? I think that's the funniest thing on the planet. There's absolutely thousands of e-commerce, really good ones out there. And I just go, you're crazy. I said, just the whole payment scheme alone can take a long time. All the shipping modules. I said, there's all that stuff out there. We can customize it. I'm not doing it. So I will just talk them into getting an e-commerce app that we will customize. And that's okay because we can make it work and function well. Exactly. And let them figure it out. Because a lot of clients, they want to build the next Amazon or something like that. And you got to let them know that they're not that. They're just starting out. That's okay. And one of the things that we're going to figure out along the way, I always tell them, like 3 months from now, when I talk to you, you're going to be very, very opinionated about the site that we built for you. And you're going to say, wow, I have so many changes I want to make. And I go, I know. Now that you know it, now that you've got a lot of feedback, now we can do those changes. But you didn't know, So, here we go. So, I do 5 rounds of revisions only, and that is because I have to limit on it. Yeah. Sorry. Like what you just said, give a system for them to make it easier for them to document changes in the budget. Yes. Okay, get that right. So, when I say 2 rounds of revisions, I say, go through the site, ask all your friends, ask all your coworkers, and make a list. And I don't talk about 2 lists, I talk about 1 list. They just write everything else down. Anything you want. And then we'll go through it. And then we'll find out if it applies. If it still must go. And if we can, if there's a workaround I can do, if it's the same thing, maybe they're going, oh, there's something I always say, I don't have to about it. That's it. I go, well, what do you want that button to do? And they go, oh. They click it, send an email, and put up their card, and then, you know, it's like I call it the $10,000 button. And that's why you have to be really careful when you do project management is because I think project management, I've always said that project management is about making the right decision at the right time. If you say yes, and that client says you said yes, you just committed to either a lot of problems or a lot of development. So what they do is we make a list and we go through it and we all agree and we go, okay, this is what's going to happen. What inevitably happens is that the client, during that process, I do a cut. I say, okay, we all good? We're good? With the list, everybody? Great. Okay, the list is now closed. scope of that list, I go, you know, some of these things in this list are either going to take too much time, because by the time we get this list, a lot of the stuff should have been settled. I mean, we should be talking about, you know, maybe some line height stuff, positioning stuff. It should be major revisions. I mean, you know, I do that. I think it's one of those things that it's my job to let them know if they're going to go over, and this is kind of goes back to the communication. So we got a lot of stuff on this list, and you guys are kind of going a little bit crazy with all these little things about pictures moving around, editing stuff, or making stuff. You know, kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit of what our discussion was. So I'll just kind of give them an estimate. I'll tell them, look, you guys are really pushing that, and I have to ask you those things that I think that I can do during that time. Yeah. You got it. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay, yeah. One more step. Okay. So, last, has anybody used browser stack? Yes. Yeah. It's awesome. It is the best. And I love it because I just got a MacBook Air. I didn't want to put a big, you know, personal network, like 3 or 4 virtual machines on my machine. It's like, I just bought some hours, and it's actually, if you're just going to test in a site, I think it was like, what was it, 20, 30 bucks or something like that for 40 hours or something like that. Then you can use those hours up and you can test on the site, but you can test all the different latest browsers. It's just sort of like an iframe and everything, but it works great. It's just great for testing. I mean, you can install an application and run it, but it's a great way to pull it down or pull the site and run it. Don't quote me on that. I can pull my account. Yeah, I did. I still did. But I figured out it's slow, but I mean, as you can imagine, it's the exact okay. Yeah, so it's one of the things that is fantastic to use. Thank you. So, man. Get it? No? Did you even get back to you? this lady. It's like a weird energy thing, you know? Well, people say, give up some fun for the job they told you, I think it's Right? Doesn't that make a lot of sense? Yeah. You could actually go, yeah, if I just got that fucking beaker right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's weird. Yeah, because it is. It's kind of have that feeling. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Maybe I'll call her. All right, guys. I just have a couple more slides here, and I hope everybody gets some stuff out of this. Hopefully, little things here and there. Okay. I'm just kind of pouring out all my stuff here. Hopefully, you can get some stuff out of it. Do you have any questions so far before we keep going? No, most stuff, you know, and I don't think I'm not. Most of the stuff I base everything on 65 bucks. And that's just, I've heard I've heard people do 55, I've heard people do 100 bucks, I've heard people do 75 bucks. For most of my basics, if I'm doing HTML or graphic design, I just do 55 bucks. Well, you'd have to be sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah, people do, whoa, that's for sure. I don't want them to get that. It's a bigger point than I do. So, most of the time, it's, for example, like the guy who did the design, we were laying out, we did the design, we had all the different squares. We were doing an e-commerce site with him in WordPress. And I'm using the app just because I like the versatility of the app. And it's just there's no deliverables, or there's no product or shipping or anything. It's basically like a catalog. So we have all the categories on the page. Turns out there's some fancy programming that's kind of these things, but for the most part, it's like how all the categories with the photos are displayed. And he said, you know, and we have hundreds of categories. And he said, you know, wouldn't it be just better if we just got rid of that, just did a tree menu, you know, like a tree menu in the middle of the page? And so I said, well, remember what I told you in the beginning, that any type of programming changes when you got to this point, I'd have to tell you that, no, we're not going to do that, because this is one of those times. So, we're going to stick with what we planned on, we're going to keep going. And I really am cautious. I'm probably sound a little arrogant up here when I tell you this, but I think it's more of the things that just some guidelines that I've done and developed over time that I try to stick to. It's really helped keep myself in check, and it also helps me get paid and do good business and do good work, because it kind of takes when I know there's a structure to follow, then I don't have to guess. I can just focus on doing my work, which is really nice for a lot of us, because I don't think that creative people are the best business people. So it's nice to have a structure involved. So, anyway. Some people are. I'm probably not one of them. And so, but this is helpful. Okay, so when we get past the revisions, I really try to kind of adapt to more of a customer service. I've kind of got to that point now, and if you follow me later on and stuff, you might hear me talk about. I'm a really big fan of. Now you've been doing this for a while, and you see websites and businesses that you create and you help get going, and then a year later they're gone, and that site that you wanted to show isn't there anymore. You kind of have to honestly ask your question of yourself and say, well, did I help them? could I have done more to keep that business open? Because it's really easy for us to go for the next deal, for the next deal, for the next deal, because we have to pay our bills. But there's that whole root 80-20 rule, right? Where you say 80% of your business goes to 20% of your clients. Well, if you're building these sites and you're just going to the next one, and you're not putting that effort in, and they're just lasting for a year and then they're gone. Number one, you don't have any websites to show. I mean, sure, you can show them your initial design, but when people go back and they want to look at that site, then they're going to say, oh, well, it's not live anymore. What happened? Should you call this? Should you not call this? So I kind of have this thing, and I'll probably be talking more about this in the future, but I really kind of firmly believe that we need to take on some of that responsibility to make our clients successful. They're hiring for a purpose. We don't have to be their business experts. Maybe that's not our role, but we have to put in the extra effort just to fit with our own site. Because if you think about that, it's really not, if they're not here tomorrow, whose responsibility? So with the walkthrough and the education, the career review sets the time aside for clients to walk through the site. It doesn't have to be in person. I prefer with phone to get it both on our own machine. Reference the original tools, do a review. Like, this is what we talked about, and this is what we accomplished, and aren't you happy? And then set the time for training. Maybe 5 hours of training, they can do whenever they want. And this is just typically, I put a limit on that because there's been times when people have said, great, we want 5 years put together, we want you to come to our, corporation and our office, and you can give a big presentation and train it for 20 people, and it's like, well, no, that's not what this is about. This is, I'm going to train your contact, and if you want your contact to train somebody else who, and that's how I've done it, because they will do that. Once you create a school in their office, and they will, you just have to do that. So I say 5 hours, one-on-one with a person, your contact. And that can stretch it over time. I don't have time limit on that. Now, whatever I want to feel that, if they have questions, they can call. I'm much familiar with the site. I would have them succeed. So I think that's going to be running about a bug. That they want to say it's going to be next Tuesday. I believe rules you've heard over the years. Never want to Friday. Everyone's going. We get problems with the host. There's always a problem. Inevitably, there will be. So I try to launch on Tuesday. Monday's always crazy. Answering all the calls. Tuesday gives you plenty of time. The rest of the week, if there's something that happens, then you can address that. And then, of course, the voice phone payment at the time. You don't know that as soon as I get the check, your site will go live. So, final power tips. During the project, set up a regular status update schedule. You really just got to just do it. Every time the job has gone south for me, it's because I didn't follow this process. Every single time I go, I knew it. I knew when I didn't call on that meeting. I didn't let them know what's going on. Through an email, I knew it. And sure enough, I had this business partner that it was great. He's not my business partner, we're a great guy. He sees shadow people. And he's like, he's told, I don't have any problem with that. So as long as we don't see shadow people, we're working. So he was just, he always had said, yeah, this client's going to call. Of course they're going to call. We haven't talked to them in 2 weeks. Of course they're going to call me upset. So communicate with the client. Let them know what's going on. And even if it's just a little bit of an update, to let them feel comfortable. I would tell clients, like, this is what's going to happen. When I go to production, I don't have anything to show you. We're working, we're building. You're going to get anxious. You're going to say, oh my God, what's they doing? And so that is time for me to call and make sure that they have stuff to do. I have to make sure that they have never even call any one of my clients and ask them, how was Wes? That's rare. That's our business. Sometimes we can get married last minute at the ending and you're like, that relationship is over. Do they not like how long it was? They'll say, I got a great call. Wes is the next guy. He was very nice. So, oh yeah, if you met me something, you totally screwed up, just fix it. Don't go, hey, well, let's go, do your best to maintain that relationship and just take care of it. And you don't always have to, I always tell people, it doesn't have to be a technical, functional solution. It could be taking that same thing but doing it in a different way. So for example, some clients will be like, well, I want to do this and this widget, and it's like, well, why can't I just put a button there and you can go to a contact form and then they can just email you? If you really need a high-tech solution where it does all the stuff, you're really going to follow that. So I try to talk about low-tech solutions in the beginning because they're good for just maintaining and working with the idea. So also, and then if they want to work hard, go to the just say, great. Fantastic. I'm breaking down the phases too. So if I have a big, long plan, I go, great. Time aside, make your list. We'll break up into phases. And we'll take the first phase. Give me the stuff you absolutely need to have right now. So if it's next week and you go, man, Super Bowl, we need something put together. Okay, great. Give me your top 5 things you have to have. And we'll figure it out. So last line real quick. I just had this call from a colleague of mine, Freetown, and he's just married. I screwed up the client, but I was so behind in getting him stuff that when they called and asked for more stuff, I felt so under the gun that I said yes because I felt like owed it. And people do that. If you feel in the wrong, you might say yes and try to say, I'll do that because you're trying to make up for something you screwed up on. But now you're going to become a flop because now you can't meet that deadline. So you have to stop that. I said, stop right now, stop over, call them, read that expectation, sit down with it, and create a new list of requirements. Figure out when the deadline needs to be, what features are going to be included in that deadline, and then create a deadline. That's what it is. And then do it. Don't screw up this time. Only one more shot. So, basically that's what I recommend. And then when you recommend solutions, you can say, look, okay, if you have to have this, this, and this by this time, it's going to take this much time. If we take some of that stuff away, which just exists, I can have it for you earlier. Or if you want to do this, this, and this, and you're really set on that, we can do that. Do not say, or if you want to end the relationship, we can just end it right now. Because that's just the boss. Don't do that. Please maintain that relationship. One of the things, the last thing I'll say is, he was so worried that by saying no, and this client told him, like, he was one of those clients like, hey man, if you give me the I know a lot of you, and if you just take care of me, you'll have this guy, he was so worried. And he doesn't have a common developer. He's a good guy. He just tell you that there's so many people in this world. Don't get caught up in that. There's so many people in your town. There's so many people in your neighborhood. Don't fall for that stuff. If you screw up with a client, it's okay. That's right. The reason my cousin-in-law said this is actually right now, everything seems to kind of know that way. So, but that's it. So, things like pretty great nuggets, especially there. So, I keep up. There we go. I do, yeah, I have a full-on development environment, so I have a staging server, and I have a local development environment too. So no, I do not show them there's still rules along the way. What I mean, yeah, what I mean by that is when you have those projects that are longer projects, most of the projects now that I do tend to be a little bit larger size, more pages and things like that. And I particularly actually look for those. You know, they'll last. I mean, I look for projects. How much do I need to get through? Okay, that's the project I'm going to do. You know, so that's the advice that I got from somebody who's super fast. Find out how much money you want to make, and then do that. And then do projects that do. Might have been that. There we go. That's correct. Only if it does, if anything happens with the estimate, or the client says, oh, by the way, I see my friend that built a website, and they said, oh, you should do this. You know, if there's new things that come in, then I would make an asterisk, or I would note that before even I do the contract. I'll have that conversation with them before. So if there are any changes between that estimate and then when the contract comes out, that's all been hashed out. So for me, yeah, to be brief, but the estimate, as far as I try to be pretty full. I mean, as far as pretty detailed in that estimate, because I don't want them to go, wow, that estimate doesn't look anything like what's in the contract. You know, so I mean, you're going to get that too. And so what I would do is I'll just go, well, we're you know, if you click and accept on the estimate, again, it's a qualifier. The contract asks. So, right. I do stuff like, you know, I'm going to only upload your first 10 products on an e-commerce site. You're going to do the rest. Or if they are using an unlikely format, their database is weird, I'll say, you know what, I'll upload your data, but you got to upload all your pictures yourself. Stuff like that I know that are time suckers for me that I can put on there. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you. No, it takes me a while. I started out. I tell people right now, I said all my sites start at 5,000. The basic one is 5,000. Yeah. I started 25. Yeah. So there you go. Temecula, I mean, we're a simple folk out there. You know, so. No, it's just the type of client. Right. Yeah, I have low risk. My clients, I mean, I don't do a lot of big clients. And I purposely have done that. You know, I've done that, but now I just do all my own development. And that was just because I have a daughter now, and I want to work from home, and I work for life. So I made some sacrifices. I don't have any other thing. So, sure, I'm always a believer that we try to solve this problem. I'm not kidding. Especially if you're having problems with your clients, raise your price. It'll solve them pretty quick. Because the ones that are serious will go. Sorry. Because you're getting that problem. Yeah. But you know what? Are you better off finding ones that are willing to pay for you? You're better off losing money. Here's the that's the question you have to ask. That's a good point. I get more work now. Believe it or not, I get more work. I mean, I've read this a million times, but that's old truth. But it's true. I get more work now by saying no than when I said yes. I don't know why it happens. The universe, God, whatever. I don't care. I mean, choose your God, but it happens. And it creates momentum. And momentum creates more momentum. So, yes. I've done all the different jobs. I've done all the brand teams and His wife got sick, and so he wouldn't take care of his wife, so we split for a while. But, I've ridden the same roller coaster. I've been a one-man shop a couple of different times, and I've grown and scaled back and grown and scaled back. Yeah, no, I don't have to. Initially, at times when I go, all right, I'm tired. You're in my own place. I don't want to go with you. I do. It depends on the context. I'm a big kicking in. It's a big reason I'm a person. So I'll go to events. If I go to events, in our industry, I'll go to, like, I might make a wine. So I'll go to the winery event, and I think it's just who you want to be, and I'm not a hard seller, it's soft sell. So I shake hands and ask people about their business and what I do. And, you have to kind of be uncomfortable with it. Comfortable with uncomfortable, being out there and get business. You have to go, okay, yeah, I'm going to go low. Let's mark the new day. So it could happen. Yeah. You don't have to. I don't like the things where I have to recommend somebody. I go to the mixers. It's not where I get alcohol because I look at people up. Maintenance is a funny thing. I've had like hardcore business people just, you're crazy. Because one of my other careers years ago, my first investment was some high speed dial-up because they didn't have any area and awesome to and so I got software and everything. That was back in the day, So I thought it was the coolest guy on the block. I had 3 boxes. I got 300 clients. I was doing hosting and dial-up. And I thought that was the best thing ever. And then all the calls started coming in because people get their email. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm charging $20 for hosting. And I'm charging $14. So $35. I mean, that was like gone in the first hour. And now you're like, at the end of the day, your router wasn't plugged in. And so now I've wasted all my time and all my money. So I don't like this maintenance contract. So if it's worth it and you have a good business, I haven't developed the business process for that. There might be people that have it dialed in. I think that's great. That's what you're talking about for maintenance. Yeah. So we built the whole business on maintenance. Okay. Most of my profit comes from maintenance. So and I'll talk about it in a minute, but I build an initial project, and I might come down a little bit on the project, but my money is made once that project launches. We're going to spend. That's great. Sure. A little bit both. So I'm going to give you my take on some of this stuff, a really quick take on some of this stuff as well. Okay, another round of applause. I really appreciate you coming up. My take on some of these slides is a little different, but most of it is just sort of the specifics and the nuances. I have the same philosophy as Wes. When it comes down to it, client maintenance is all about setting expectations, setting and managing expectations. And really, it's about communication. That's what makes you, and it's going to set you apart from your competitors. And really, that's how I built my business for 17 years. I've been doing this almost as long as you do. Same as Wes. I started my business in 95. So I literally made a business out of just answering the phone. And I know that sounds stupid, but my competitors don't answer the phone. And they go AWOL. And they just I'll get business from people that will call me and say, listen, I can't get a hold of my developer. Well, great. Let's talk about what you need. I answer my phone, and my people, and we answer our phones. It's as simple as that. We respond to emails, and I insist that we get back to our clients as fast as possible. Probably to my detriment sometimes, and I know Kelly can agree with me on that. But I like to get back to clients very fast because that's what sets us apart from our competitors. And I'm talking even at higher rates. I told you what my bottom line price is. Even at the agency level, people go in. They just won't answer the phone. They don't want to deal with a lot of the stuff that Wes was showing at the end. what is setting you apart from your competitors? A lot of what I talk about when I go to WordPress conferences is what a developer is. Most people that you're going to be competing with don't have a lot of business acumen. They don't have a lot of social skills. Developers a lot of times are people that don't know how to deal with problem situations, and that's what helps set you apart. That's what, again, I built a career out of it. So that's what I do well. It's really just about setting client expectations. Now, Wes talked about a lot of software things, talked a lot about process, a lot of process. I have an advantage. I have a Kelly. Kelly has been a godsend for us. I'll get there in a second. Kelly's been a godsend for us. Before Kelly came along, I was, 15, 16 years into this. I was still running around like a chicken with my head cut off, right? Because we take all this work, and I was able to get the work. Managing the work was just a mess. And Kelly has been able to come in and organize everything, get everybody on schedule, really help set those expectations. We were already setting expectations. She makes it ridiculous, which is just sort of the flip side of setting expectations. Anyway, as far as software goes, we use Assembler. We've talked about this here in the past. A lot of people use Basecamp. There's several project management sites out there. The one that I like is called Assembler. And I use it just because it's got aspects of all. It's got a ticketing system. It's got a code repository. It's got scheduling. It's got milestoning. It's got wikis. It's got messaging areas. File repository. It's got all of this one. But it's not cheap. So Basecamp, you can set up for cheap. I think even for free or some of them you can set up for free. Assembler, I have the enterprise level account. I know the pricing structure changes. I just we're about $250 a month for Assembler. But I can have as many spaces as I want. I know there's less expensive packages on Assembler. But what are some of the other ones that people are using in your room? Mantis you can post yourself, right? For bug tracking. Assembler's got bug tracking. Which one? Project Locker. I demoed that before I settled on Assembler. Project Locker is more of a what do you call this? Track wiki. It's a track wiki. Locker. Project Locker. CRM, there's several of them out there. One of the ones that I've liked in the past that's kind of simple to use is Hierarchy, which is a Basecamp product, 5 signals product. 7 signals? How many signals are there? 37 signals? I shorted them by 30, but 37 signals? I don't know how many signals are. So Basecamp Hierarchy is about 37 signals product. Sugar is another source of CRM. So anyway, there's several of them out there. I put this slide on purpose because I wanted to react to some of the things that Wes was saying. Again, I have a little bit of a different take than Wes said. Neither of these are right or wrong because I like what you laid out here. This stuff all works. If it works, this all works in Wes's favor, right? He gets paid up, 75% paid within 30 days of the project starting, which is awesome. And that's great. This puts the pressure on the client to deliver the stuff they need to get their project finished, which is good. Which, as you know, or if you're just getting into this, you're going to realize really quick. Clients are slow. Is a great word for it. I was going to use a more hard word. Slow is fine. I was going to use the word lazy. They are anxious and as soon as the project starts, you can't get a hold of them. So this is nice. This puts the pressure back on the client. Because if there's money involved, they're going to start giving you stuff. Okay? Here's the one. The second to last bullet is the one I was going to react to, which is no work is released until paid in full. Now, I have a little bit of a different philosophy on this. My clients actually get access to the code from day one on every project that I work on. So we use Semla, we put our code into a code repository, and we open that up to the client on day one. It's there. So whether we're paid or not, no matter what the contract terms are, do not set those expectations will hold the hostage or even hold the site hostage as a way to get money as a client, which is no good for anybody. It's ruining a relationship. The client's not happy, the developer's not happy, and I guarantee you that client's going to move on to another developer once that project is settled and done. Okay? I was reacting to your second to last bullet here. Okay? I'm not saying this is you because, again, at the end of the project, you're going to know way ahead of time if you've got a proper plan. Sure, sure. But what I was saying is, I actually released the code from day one. Yeah. We just opened up our code repo. And what I found out is, even though I opened it, my clients have no idea what to do with it. Let's be realistic. It's way too technical. It's over their head. I educate them in the first meeting, and that's the last I talk about. I educate them to let them know it's a sales and PR thing, right? I let them know this is what our competitors do. This is what I do. This is yours. You own it. The reality is they're never going to do anything with it. But it gives them a peace of mind. You know, you're both using integrity to create trust. That's right. You're absolutely right. And that's what it comes down to. Yeah, I set it up on something, my thing, so it would be like, pizza and website stuff. So they can still view it, they can look at it, play with it. They can take it. Absolutely. I've already set the expectations. What's like the website? These are my payment terms, and I will stop working for not getting paid. I'll know ahead, well ahead if there's a problem that's happening. It's not going to be a surprise to anybody. It's not going to wait till the end of the project that there was a problem with this client. But yes, you're absolutely right. We're both establishing trust in different ways. I will. I do. I will launch it without getting paid. My final payment. 30 days. I mean, again, I've really never used it as leverage. Again, I'll know well ahead of time if there's a problem getting paid, and I'll have a discussion about it. So, yeah, I'm dealing with much larger projects, and they're, I'm in a 30 days maybe type of situation. Usually it's more like that, 45, 60, and that's just the way the accounts receivable department works. The accounts payable department works. Was there a question? No, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. I am dealing typically with much larger contracts. So, yeah, we're an agency shop. I know I'm letting the absolute thing. Kelly, we have milestones and deadlines. Again, much like I'll have a conversation at the very beginning. We don't typically set the milestones up front. We'll sign a contract without those milestones. Sometimes they do need to go into the contract, but typically the way I work is I'll have a proposal, and I'll let them know that our first deliverable will be a detailed statement of work. So we don't even write a statement of work until we've signed on the dotted line that we're working on this project. Because our statements of work are a little bit different. They're very detailed. A detailed schedule as to how we're going to, as to when they're going to get the deliverables, what those deliverables are. It's a very comprehensive, detailed outline as to what they're going to get when. So that typically comes as our first deliverable. And it will be part of a larger deliverable, mostly our planning deliverable. And that will actually have a payment attached to it. So we'll get a deposit, and typically we'll get paid an amount of money on the planning deliverable, which includes the statement of work. The one thing I always say when I go to the work camps and I lead this presentation is, if you're not moving down, make sure you do some form of a statement of work. And a statement of work to me is something that a client is going to put their signature on. Whether they accept FreshBooks or they actually put a physical signature on it, whatever the call to action agree with that? Absolutely. Never start a code or a piece of design without some sort of statement of work. I make my brother. Yeah. Code library. How do you deal with, code that's sitting on a shelf for other clients? Do you build it at full rate? Absolutely. Turn that off. Every time, Jason. You know what? Go ahead. You go first. I mean, I think it's all sort of like, it just depends on, like, I quote, how long does it take me anyway? I kind of have it. It may not be the best at the day, but just because I'm not going to have it, learn how to do it fast, doesn't mean I need to charge more or charge, what I mean? Because I kind of have this thing where I don't want to put it in time. I don't want to put it in years to figure it out. If I figure it out, okay, do my job a little bit faster so that I can get an extra hour spending my dollar, then so be it. But I'm not going to charge time less. Well, can I ask an example? For example, I want WordPress to be in the footer. Sure. What's that? Well, if I'm going to build a feature like that, it's so easy to add. It's a function that's in WordPress, but it's probably already my base input. So I probably would turn that on. Most of the features that I'm talking about have probably advantages that are intersection. So these are things that I have to take time to figure out, multiple hours type things. Like I said before, it's something I can do in a few minutes or under half hour, I'll do it. But I'm not going to, just do nitpick or nickel dime on mine just to make an extra call. You're absolutely right. I was going to say that same thing. I'm in the same camp as Wes. And actually, I'm very transparent with my clients. We've got this piece of code. We wrote this for a different project. We can repurpose pieces of this, right? It's still going to charge you the same, but you're going to get to market quicker because of that. That's why you're here. That's why you're using me. Because absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you asked specifically that code library, though. I'd let my clients know we're using open source tools, we're using WordPress, and if you request a feature that might be out there on the, that somebody else has written, we're going to go and grab it and repurpose it and get you 80% of the way, 80% of the way there, because again, we're saving you time. We're getting you to market quicker. In those instances where I have released code, I've gone to the client and said, this is what I most of the time we're building ourselves. I will start, a lot of what you most times do is start with empty canvas. I've talked about it up here before. It's just the one I like because it's just this empty, bare theme. You start the thing. I talked about statement of work. One of the things that I didn't talk about yet is who owns the code. Once you're done, who owns the code? Okay. When I ask this question at WordCamp, a lot of the times it's, I own the code. The developer will say, I own it. I built this, I own it. Okay? And I've heard this a lot over the years. Okay? You're right. I don't think so either. But this argument still exists. Who owns the code? proposing design, the designer would have some rights to it where they're okay. Usage right. Okay. I'm telling you, this is a gray area. They do. Work for hire. Okay. My client owns the iteration, whatever I deliver at the end of the project. The iteration is theirs. What I care about protecting is my knowledge of the property. Just because I wrote something for them doesn't mean I can't use similar processes in other projects. And I have had clients say, hey, you wrote this for us. You cannot use this anywhere else. I won't sign that contract. I just won't. Because the only reason I'm sitting in front of that client in the first place is because I have 17 years of prior knowledge that got me to sit there, and I'm going to use that knowledge I get on that project on my next project. So I care about protecting my client owns the brand. And actually, again, I educate my client, even if they don't know, and if they're not, if they haven't had this conversation, when I'm sitting at that first meeting, I let them know, you're hiring me, you own this. And again, a lot of developers who are saying they own the code so that they can force those maintenance contracts, right? Force those updates to be paid, which is not a good relationship. It's not a relationship I want to be in. I'm sorry, a couple of questions. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I was just going to say, that's right here in the contract. And I do not know anything. These are your ideas. I'm interpreting them. I'm going to bring them to life. When we are done, I'm done. Dealers out. And they love it. They're like, great. That was something we were worried about. Well, you don't have to worry about it. It makes it such an easier transition. And most likely, I would bet they're worried about it because they've dealt with a developer that's given them a hard time in the past. Or they hear about it. It's amazing. I mean, some people have this. I've had people give me full schematics of how their e-commerce site should go. I've never seen e-commerce store ever like it. So a lot of people have these ideas about how the internet works and how things work for you. So what do you charge? How do you price it? I like that answer. Whatever the market will bear. How do you determine that? Give them a really high quote. That's one tactic and a good one. Okay, I like that. That's the way I do it. I just ask them, what's your budget? If they don't answer, then it's probably not a good client in the first place. What's your budget? I've got a sense for it now. If I'm having an initial conversation with somebody, I have a sense as to whether they're within our price range or not. And and at that point, I will ask. And if they're not, I'll let them know. Great. I've got a bunch of people I can refer to. This just doesn't not fit for us. A lot of them are surprised. I've had people get mad at that, but you know, there's certain projects you just can't take on. But I'm with Lauren. I'll just ask, what's your budget? Well, and if they give you for facilitate the answer, well, you know, we have a budget in mind, but I can't tell you right now because we're employed. Fuck 'em. Right? I mean, if they're going to get hot, that's a red flag that that's going to go on throughout the entire project. And to me, you know what? If they come to me, we talk about RFPs up here. I don't participate in RFPs. I haven't in 10 years. As a philosophy, I just don't do it. It's wasting time. And you know, I realized after 7 years, I didn't get any business off of an RFP. An RFP is casting out. They've already decided on a vendor, and they're just justifying. Right. Somebody told them up top, you got to send out an RFP because it's legal. You know, I kind of gone. You know, I know how long it takes me to do things, and so when I do things, if I break things out depending on the project, like I do my things, like I would touch my face, and then you know that's me installing the software, building the design, and just hit the wall. I will build you a WordPress blog, design it, then I just go from there and I add stuff on it. Because for me, it was just easier to do it that way than to, and sometimes clients say it should be 5 minutes. Yeah, most of my projects are between 10. How much money did I do? How many did I start? I did 7 sites last year. So I cut down the number of sites that I do, and just because I kind of got to the point where I'd rather do better work than volume. So I'm just trying to charge more and more for me, and then just try to really build some good. Well, there's a ratio. The smaller the budget, the bigger the pain in the ass. I promise you that holds true every single time. I've got 17 years. They're low ballers for a reason. One of the running themes that I've heard a lot from everybody that's chiming in is don't be afraid to say no. It's okay. You know, if you got a bottom, stick to it, and don't be afraid to say no. If they want to work with you, they're going to find a way to come back and at least communicate with you. Well, we want to work with you. This is reality, so we can afford it. And then you have a decision. Don't be afraid to say no. It's okay. We say no to large projects when we start identifying red flags. That's okay. I do not want to lose money, ever. I'm in business. We're not, you know, OCWP is that's my charitable organization. Upstairs is a business. I've also done a deal, especially over the last couple of years, when I started approaching me about payments or measurable payments. It's not sometimes we go, look, we want to work with you, you're higher than some of the other people we've been talking to, but we want to work with you. Can you be flexible with payments? I go, great. You can break it up into 4 months. No matter what, by this time every month, I need this payment. No matter what, there are no milestones. There are no deliverables. Every month, I need this payment by this date. And for the next 4 months, I will do that. I will not go longer than that, and that always worked every time. And if we're in a situation where a client wants to work with us, we're too expensive, and they come back, we'll break up the phases. We'll say, and then let's talk about this. So, okay, great. We're too high, and what you want is worth this amount of money. But what if we build half of it now? We build this year, and we see how it goes, and then we build the rest. If it's successful, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, yeah. I think great. I have no experience with it. But you're a host there. What you're really charging for is the hosting and the software that you're hosting. You're licensing. Turn the camera on. I understand that. Come on. The question is, a client is requesting something that we know is wrong. Client is requesting something that we know is going to make his site shit. What's that? I'm going to take my answer for a minute. I'm going to ask the group. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with that? Is anybody dealing with that now? Brandon? What's the matter with rainbows and unicorns? Cool. Good tactic. I find that MIDI background music complements the rainbows and unicorns very well. and say, well, let me talk about your business objectives and why that might not fit. I'm Wes. That's another tactic. If they're willing to pay for the out-of-scope change, absolutely. Then at that point, you could get into, you might get into A/B testing. Instead of an A/B plugin, say, I'm happy to try that for you. Why don't we set an A/B test and see which way works better? Right. And Wes said communication, especially in that instance, is absolutely critical. Document it all. I said this. I gave you my advice. You said you want to try this? No problem. Right. But here's what I said. And this is why I'm going to charge you to change it when you come back to me and realize that it's wrong. Am I summing that up for you? Okay. Yes. You just said there, documentation. In that instance, I put the onus on you. I think it's your responsibility to send a follow-up email and say, this is what I heard. And actually, that gives you the power at that point. Because if you put it on them, you're giving them the power to spin it the way they want. You're saying, very matter of fact, this is what I heard on the call. Would you mind sending me an email back and saying this is what that you agree that this is what we discussed? That's how I would handle it. And that's how we handle it. Yeah. They get trained pretty damn quick. Yeah, I do it both ways. Just it depends on it. Your topics are super detailed, and they're kind of all over the place. They're just $1 million. I'll just say, look, can you seem like really cool? And they go, oh yeah, and I just this is. Do you mind just writing that out in an email? So what is that? Of course, they don't really because they expect them to go away. So on the other hand, I've also been in a situation where I've just gone, okay, you want this, and I'll review the whole meeting here, and then I'll write it and I'll send it back. And this is what you wanted. You agree with it, and then you tell me that. So I had a specific comment about scope creep, about scope changes, which never happened. Happens on every single project. There is always a scope change. Count on it. Here's how I deal with scope creep. I just have a conversation. Client calls, they say they want this. Usually comes to Kelly. She comes downstairs and says, this happened. So if it's big enough and worth the conversation, I'll just call the client and say, listen, you said that you wanted this. Let's just talk it through. And the way I'll usually phrase it is, I don't know if this is a scope increase or not. Let's talk it through. And I'll put it on them. I usually put it on them as a question, so we'll talk it through. And I'll say, based on the original contract, do you feel that that's a scope increase? And see how they react. That's how I deal with it. And a lot of times I'm having that conversation because I want to let them know, hey, is this worth what you paid for a scope creep? This might cost you thousands of dollars. Is it worth it to do it right now, or can we come up with a different way? It gives me the to have that conversation and let them know that I'm actually on their side. You know, I'm not. There's a different way to handle scope creep, and it goes like this. You've asked me for this. It's going to cost you X. Yes or no? And I say it jokingly, but a lot of developers handle it that way. And clients are pissed off. And a lot of them come to me because of that specific reason. Part of the, especially for website launch, especially for the smaller scale clients, they're probably terrified of going live. You know, I've had clients that I've worked with over the years that, what do you mean probably? Some of them are just kicking the tires and going, hey, I want to do it faster. What the normal should say to you is like the launch of their next big crazy idea. So I have clients where I literally have to go through like 4 scope conversations just to get to the fact that they're just afraid of launching. And, you know, they didn't want any of the other stuff. They just want to try to solve. And, you know, so that's where their own psychological handling becomes any feature. And again, the way I get around stuff like that is just ask questions. Ask how you feeling. It's simple stuff. I know it sounds stupid, but it's simple stuff. How you doing? You know, are you nervous? You know, it's going to be okay. You know, it's stuff like that. And Dave's right. And a lot of it just has to do with the fact that they've never done this before. A lot of it comes from an experience. I was going to mention one of the fantastic one. No, it was the slide before this. Second last one. I love it. Okay. If you fuck up and you're going to on every single project, you're going to do something wrong. I've done something wrong today. All right? Just fix it. Do it. It's not a scope creep. Own it. It was your fault. Fix it. Move on with your day. The way we handle screw-ups is hopefully with the process we've got going now with Kelly on board, we catch it before the client does. That's our goal. We want to catch it before the client sees it, fix it, and call them to let them know, hey, this happened, fix it, won't happen again, moving on with the day. Done. Conversation over. There are no problems at that point, okay? Most of your, you know, Wes and the whole slide here, something goes down. And most of that can just be solved with fix it before it becomes a problem, or put it out quickly before it becomes a big problem. And most problems just happen. Use common sense, fix it, move on with your day. And, you know, again, if something goes wrong, the client calls me, I just take responsibility. You know what, you're right. We screwed up. I'm sorry, it happened. It was our oversight. Or, you know, we put some code we weren't supposed to, we broke it, we were cowboy coding, I don't know, whatever it was. You know, we did it, you know, this is fixed, it won't happen again, and here's what we did about it so we make sure it doesn't happen again. Done. Over with. Client's happy, they move on with their day, I move on with my day. Over. There's no arguments, there's no meetings to go discuss what went wrong and what just fix it first before it becomes a problem. That's the best thing to have. Agree with that? Yeah, like I said before, if it gets here, screw it up. You know, it should get here. And most of the time, it's just a call and talk to them and give them nothing. And we call it, it's okay. It's just this. You know, it's kind of like that thing with today. You know, you remember for how you act in situations. You know, and figuring out the problem, sitting with the client and just saying, okay, this is how we deal with it. Get it done. We're going to caveat this. We don't have to lower the price, give us money. This one's fixed. Like, you don't have to make anything different. Just get it done, take care of it. All I want to know is that you were responsible, you handled it, you handled it like it. Again, problems happen. How you handle the problems makes you apart. Kelly and I actually make a good team. You know, Kelly's very matter of fact. You know, this is what happened. This is what we need from you. You know, take my shift, I get your shift, or you know, it's very matter of fact. I'm much more of a bullshit, right? On the team, okay? And we make a good team because of that. And you know, when we're sitting in a meeting, the who they can turn to if they need a little bit of more fuzzy, and who's gonna give them straight, and that's good. But at the end of the day, we're both just communicating. This is what happened. This is what I did about it. I got to move on because I'm busy. So anyway, I just wanted to reinforce that. It was good. So, anyway, any further questions? Anything I talked about? Because I want to get on another day, guys. What's that? We're selling convenience, right? My clients don't want to think, and they pay us to think for them. I just saw someone the other day remark that, it's always going to be somebody that says that they came up with a new system, the site builder graph, and it's going to do all this stuff. There's always people that's going to want this there, and those are our clients. They're not going to want the template and it looks like the next hair salon, the next accounting company or corporate environment. They want their own thing, they want their own way, and they want to have a say. And as long as there are people that have opinions out there, we have fun. So you just have to find it. You just have to understand that. When you talk to them, when you tell them, this is what I do, and this is how I do it, you explain the process to them. Good work. You got to do good work. Wes is where he is because he's got a reputation, right? He's done this for a long time, and he knows, his clients know that they come to him and count on him for doing good work. It's as simple as that. You do have to build a reputation, right? I don't market Zeek at all. There is no marketing budget. We don't go out. We don't cold call. My clients just know me, and they know we do this kind of service, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I've got a reputation. And I've got a reputation for delivering on time, on budget. It's as simple as that. And doing quality work. So it does take some of that. Wes made a good point. A lot of your clients are going to be found at networking events. I have a friend who does all of their business on the golf course. That's where a lot of business is done at places like that. Just getting the client out on the golf course, getting them relaxed, sell it. But that's just sales. That's that's kind of sales 101. I'm sort of lucky. My dad's
old school salesman. So I have a bit of that background, and I learned a lot from him. He's got an art gallery and picture frame shop. They've been doing it since before I was born. And I don't know if anybody's from Santa Monica, but there's a place called LA Art Exchange on Broadway, right next to Helen Cycles. That's my dad's shop. So I have a little bit of that background, but my dad is the same way. He does his business on the golf course. He just knows how to network. So anyway.
And now go to something completely different.
Thank you again to Wes.
All right, so, yeah, we're going to totally shift gears. WordPress pointers. Who loves them? Who hates them? Who is ambivalent to them? Awesome. And who just doesn't appreciate raising hands in the meeting? All right, let's go check them out. So I made this gorgeous UI.
Are you a programmer?
It's my design days are numbered. So pointers are these little things. And they are brand new in WordPress 3.3, and they have been met with a really mixed bag so far from the user community, from the developer community, from the core team. This has primarily been pushed by Jane and Matt. The idea behind the pointers and behind everything that they're trying to do in 3.3 and moving forward is to make WordPress more accessible, to make clients more comfortable deploying the site, getting in, writing their first blog post, and things like that. So this actually does make a pretty good segue from Wes's discussion, Steve's discussion, which is training your client. In that you may have a client who drops a whole ton of money on you to develop something and then expects you to teach them how to write their WordPress site and how to maintain it and how to do everything in it. And what the WordPress core team has heard from the development community is, hey, we wish there was a really straightforward way to just deploy a client site and get out of their way. And why isn't WordPress more human? So they came up with the pointers. Love them or hate them, they're in, and they're probably going to be, growing for a while. So what I've done here, and by the way, this is a plugin that I wrote on Sunday, watching football. Go Niners. One of the things, and you can download this from heydavecole.com and play around with it yourself. So I've tried to do a couple of different things with the pointers. So for one, you've got the basic pointer. I just want to create a pointer. You can also do a step-by-step pointer. So you can say, okay, point at that, point at that, point at that, all done. I've also written an AJAX pointer. So AJAX, for those of you not really familiar with it, is where you can go call some PHP code and then deliver the results back via JavaScript. Notice I haven't refreshed the page or anything like that. So, and this is pulling up what it thinks my server time is and what my current admin is. You can also do, you can mess with the styles. Yeah. I was busy doing a lot of UI design. Anybody that's used Dasher knows that my style lives on. It's eternal. We're going to need to get that t-shirt made. All right, next time you're pizza boy. So that's really, these are a couple of different ways to draw pointers. And, obviously, like I said, this is just a rough cut. You guys are free to download this as just a single PHP plugin. So I just want to walk you through some of the basics of what's going on here. Pointers, there's a reason why there isn't a codex page on WordPress.org for pointers. The development implementation is that it has none of the elegance that we're kind of used to seeing from the core teams. Typically, they've thought through all the different use cases, and the plugins are literally just sort of like chunked onto things. So keep in mind, everything that I'm showing here is probably going to change through the next few iterations. Pointers are primarily driven via jQuery, so just keep that in mind as well. This is much less of a PHP type of feature, and much more of a jQuery, get comfortable with using the JavaScript. So as you'll see, this is a real streamlined plugin. I've tried to include just a couple of use scenarios so that you can get comfortable with it in your own world. Brandon last time talked about enqueuing. So the thing that you have to know is that oh, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, so you definitely need to use enqueuing in your themes, in your plugins, if you plan on using pointers. The name of the style and the script is WP-pointer. I also just enqueued jQuery because, again, if you're building for your client, just enqueuing doesn't cost you any resources, so it really can't hurt. And if you need it, put it there. Drawing a pointer is actually this simple. This is the basic pointer. So hopefully everybody can see that. So what it is that you assign a target, like you would jQuery, so that you can select what you're working on. In this case, I've got this blue div right here is called basic target. That's its ID. Then you set up a pointer with the parameters, and at a bare minimum, literally actually at a bare minimum, all you need is content. But adding a position will help orient what you're working with. The content to make the pointer pop up, this is an H3 tag, and this is a paragraph space. So it's literally that simple. To get rid of pointers, you can use the jQuery process called hide, and that'll just clear out any class of .wp pointer from your screen. So let's say, and one of the things I left on here is I can show you what goes wrong. You can, if you don't have a clear function to get rid of pointers, you can make this happen. So if you include a clear button, I would like a lot of pointers. So obviously you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble if you're doing this for a client, if you're deploying something on their behalf. And here's basically where I think the pointers could be really, really helpful in your development environment is if you are building plugins, like AdSanity, or you're building something where you expect your client may have multiple people interacting with what you're creating, especially if you're creating a custom theme or a custom plugin and they've got a stack. If you include a button that says, show me what this all does, and then have it just point from thing to thing to thing using a step technique, they're going to get it. They're going to go, cool, I don't need to call Wes. I don't need to call Steve. I can just use the thing. The reason why I've actually explored this is because Dasher is because anybody that wants Dasher the first time without having me or Jeff sitting or Steve sitting right in front of you goes, I don't get it. And it's poorly UI software, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm a programmer. Or as Steve would say, well, you're a guy in the room. Another cool thing that you can do with it is you can use Ajax to populate your pointer. So if you're building a nice little knowledge base in a CSV file or something like that, go ahead and use Ajax. It's totally compatible. It works great. I also created an advanced pointer, which is step-by-step version. So you can create rules, you can create conditions. This is just hack together if statements. But this, imagine how much easier if you were writing a custom plugin for your client, it would be to just put in a little helper tool by creating 10 pointers and walking away from it. They'll know how to find it forever. And it's literally as easy to call as a function and creating a pointer object. Yes. Yeah, it's just as high. Pointers are actually, again, there's probably going to be a lot of changes through the next few iterations of WordPress, but pointers are essentially drawn. I can show you actually, if we want to get hyper-technical, as each pointer gets thrown out, it actually stays on the page as a dedicated div. It'll sit there. So you can call it anytime you want and say, give me that pointer again. As long as you know the ID of what you just created, you can say fade in. You can, another thing you'll see on this one is I added a fade out on a timer. So you can use, I mean, obviously bright line green with black, borders is probably not recommended, but you can do pretty much anything, any jQuery transformations you can do to the pointers. Yeah. And I didn't put that into the plugin that I wrote. It's a user meta called WP Dismiss Pointers. It's in there. Look for, if you're looking for the code of how to drop it, you can literally drop the option with the delete user metadata, and because at the default state, it's active. So if they've dismissed it and you want to bring it back, you just need to drop the option. And you could do that with APIs. So, like I said, I think this iteration is probably the most helpful. One thing is test before you ship on pointers. This one is supposed to be pointed at this button. And everything that I've done in the code is right, and apparently not. But, that's basically it. Did you change the flag icon? Yeah, the flag icon is set in CSS. So as long as you've got something else handy, the flag icon is, it's just a CSS image. So like I said, you can download this on heydaycool.com. I've got a page up there. So yeah, if you just go to heydaycool.com/WordPress-sandbox, you can download the plugin. It's not something you want to release to anybody, but it's free to play around with. And of course, if you've got any questions, email me, tweet me, let me know. I'm happy to answer questions right here. If anybody's got them. Pointers are messy.
So what are some of the things that you were saying about it? I mean, I've heard of a few things, but judging from the rush of implementation, what are some of the, I can see a lot of help, and I think that you're probably on the right track. Maybe in this instance, it's not perfect, but there's a bit of done.
Yeah, I mean, most of what I've heard is that most of the pressure comes from developers who are driving about pressing buttons. They like their 30-second install, and the 34th second is taking them off when they're doing the 20 times. I'll be the first to admit I have yet to, meet a brand new WordPress user and seen what their experience is. I don't know if it's helpful. We're actually taking some logic into the next iteration of Dasher. So I'm using Ajax to actually use pointers because you can add, I think I added it on one of these, you can add HTML into the pointers. So you can add a text box, you could add a select box, you can add submit, you can do literally whatever you want from inside of the pointer. So what we're doing with Dasher is we're actually creating not just pointers, but inside the pointer you'll be able to interact with it and refine your search, improve, what you're working on.
You see it a mini video there?
I haven't tried a video, but as best as I can guess, it should work.
Screen captures.
I'll see if I can just drop one in. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that goes on because of the CSS that got loaded behind it. Let's see if...
I guess I'm saying is you want to have like 30 videos, like 30 pointer videos.
Well, the pointers aren't loaded. The thing about the pointers, they're not loaded on the front side of the page. The pointers are loaded. That's what the trick is that they've done with the new... There's a thing. Wait, shut up. There we go. Blah, 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 blah. My computer's slow. Well, my guess is, yeah, you can embed a video, it'll just draw it in real time. Any other questions? Good. All right. All done. It's 9. I think we'll end there. We covered a lot tonight. Again, not a normal developer day, but I think we we're good. I think again, we had a day. For those of you who aren't familiar, we drink both during and after the meeting. So we're happy to reconvene in the house of Ruth.